Hey everybody, Coach Jason here. Hope you're all doing well in here in the garage. We're going to go over some hitting drills today, and everybody should be able to do all of these drills. For some of you who actually attended our winter hitting session down here in Maryland, some of these will be familiar to you because most of these for today will be the PVC pipe progression. And then there are a couple of different drills, but then as we advance over the next week or two, we'll start to get into some different hitting drills. But for today, we're mostly going to be working through a PVC progression. Now, what I have here, I've got a PVC pipe. It's something that one of our parents has made, and actually, hopefully, we'll bring it to an online store near you. But this is essentially just PVC pipe, something that we can put in our bags and take with us. Right. So if you don't have a PVC pipe, you can use a broomstick. John, can you hand that to me? Thanks. Just hold that. You can use a broomstick. Same thing. Obviously, you'll have bristles on the end. Just kids don't go cutting it off because mom or dad may need this. But any long stick will do. You can even use a long tree branch if you have one. Thanks. You can put that over here to the side. So another thing that I have on the ground here is a piece of tape. So the piece of tape actually will be used as a reference point for my stance and my stride. Kids, you've got to understand that hitting is simply more than just swinging a bat. A lot of young players will get into trouble before they even swing the bat. So the stride is off. The landing point is off. The timing is off. So before you even swing the bat, you're probably doing something that is hurting your hitting. Okay, it may not have anything to do with the swing. It's what you're doing before the swing. So a lot of what we're going to be working on here today is going to be focused on what we're doing before the swing. Correct with what you're doing before the swing, then we can actually work on the actual swing itself. So the first drill that we're going to do is just simply working on our stance and stride. So what I'm doing is I'm lining my feet up. I'm putting the balls on my feet on this piece of painter's tape. And I'm going to take my pipe and I'm going to put it right behind my back foot. I'm right-handed, so there's my pitcher. I'm going to get my hands in my hitting stance. So I'm in my stance, and all I'm going to do is just stride and back to my stance, and stride and back to my stance. Now notice my hands. What I don't want to have happen is I don't want to stride and bring the PVC pipe forward. This PVC pipe should remain straight up in the air throughout this drill. So I start here, I stride, and PVC pipe remains tall. Okay, so if I'm pulling it, it means I'm bringing my hands forward, or I might even be lunging too far. This will help us keep the hands back, but also helps us to limit the stride. If I stride too far, it's going to be hard to keep my hands back, so the pipe's going to come with me. So we've got to make sure that we're staying nice and balanced and in control of our body. Okay? Now, one thing to look out for, parents, as your kids are doing this, watch they're not pushing their hands back to cheat. We don't want to do that. Keep the hands where they are, stride, and that PVC pipe should stand straight up in the air. So, Jonathan, you want to give us a few reps here? Okay, get in your stance. Okay. Now, the hands in your stance should be at the height where they normally are when you're holding the bat. So is that where you normally hold the bat, Jonathan, that high up? Okay, I don't think you do. You drop those hands a little bit. Okay. All right, ready? Now, eyes should always be on the pitcher. Okay. Stride. Good. Perfect. That PVC pipe is nice straight up in the air. Back to stance, Jonathan. Stride. Good. And another thing we're looking for is his front foot is staying in line. Okay, he's not coming over. A lot of times, I'm going to take your foot. A lot of times, you're going to see kids with that stride way out here. If you're striding out here, you call that stepping in the bucket, you're going to struggle to hit that outside pitch. Okay, so I'm going to relax for a second, Jonathan. So doing it facing the camera, you see a lot of young kids stride out here. A lot of times because they're afraid of the ball. All right, so we've got to try to reduce that, if not eliminate it. Stride's got to be here. Stride's got to be here. So that's why we have that piece of tape down. Okay, so very simple drill. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Take your time. Okay, it's not rapid fire. It's not here, back, here, back, here, back, go. It's not rapid fire. Quality over quantity. All right, everybody, for our next drill, we're going to build off of that first one. So we'll do our stance, our stride, and then hip rotation. Now, the hip rotation is going to be very subtle. Okay, so what it'll look like is I put another piece of tape down, okay, coming at the camera so you can see the hip action that we want to see. So I got my feet set up on the tape. I've got my PVC pipe off my back foot. And my hands are in a good ready position. So what we'll do is we'll do stance, then we'll do stride and hip. Okay, now, the hip action. We've got to make sure as hitters, when we're getting ready to launch into the ball, it's a subtle movement with the hip. And a lot of young kids struggle with this because you tell kids, hey kids, rotate your hip, and they do this. A lot of young kids have a problem separating hips from shoulders. Okay, so you tell them move your hip, they do that. But what we want to see is move your hip. We want to see the hips move without the shoulders moving. Because if this shoulder comes out too soon, that means we're going to struggle to hit that outside part of the plate. Okay, we got to get the hips rotating. That allows us, the hips got to rotate without the shoulders to start with, so our hands can stay back and we can drive any pitch anywhere. So again, we'll do stance, we'll do stride, and hip. Okay, and that shoulder's got to stay here. If we do stance, stride, and then hip, and we start yanking that shoulder, that PVC pipe's going to fall down. So Jonathan, we're going to jump in there. Okay, so get yourself set up in your stance. There we go. Look at the picture. Stride, hip. Good, very good. Okay, this is how we want to see it finish. We want to see that shoulder still point back to that picture. Back to start. Stance, stride, hip. Good, excellent, very good. All right, relax, Jonathan. Okay, so that's what we want to see. We want to be able to get those hips going before we start rotating that shoulder. Okay, because if we can do that, our hands are going to we're now going to be starting to generate that power from that lower half while keeping those hands back so that now we can then snap into the baseball. Okay, because now we're acting like a coil. And as soon as we get those hips here, we're now in that coiled up position where our upper body's back, our hips are rotating, and when we do rotate those hands into the ball, we're like a spring going off and we got more power, okay? All right, so that's the second drill in our progression. Start out in the stance, do the stride, and then get the hips going. So our third drill in this progression is working on the hip rotation again. Okay, so similar to the last drill where we're trying to get those hips going without moving the shoulders, this is something that's working on the same thing. This time we're not going to do a stride. We're going to get our feet set. We're going to hold the PVC pipe out in front. Now I'm right-handed, Jonathan's right-handed, so we're going to hold it with our left hand like this. It's going to be lined up exactly with our left foot. If you're left-handed, you'll be holding it with your right hand out in front. Okay, now make sure this hand is shoulder height and the arm has to be extended. And I'll tell you why in a couple minutes. So we're going to start out here. Feet wide, no step. Feet wide, hand shoulder height. Now all you're going to do is you're going to try to rotate those hips without rotating the shoulder. Okay, so rotate. Now the purpose of this, again, just like the last drill, we're trying to rotate our hips without moving the shoulder. So notice my hips are coming open, my shoulder's still closed. Rotate. What you should also see is, hopefully you can see on my back side start and turn. We don't want to start rotating the hips and find our back foot is still down. If we do this correctly, if you rotate your hips correctly, the back foot should start to rotate. Okay? So here, and rotate. Now, why is the arm got to be straight? If the arm was bent, you can get away with moving the shoulder and nothing happens to the PVC pipe. If my arm is straight and I rotate the shoulder, notice the pipe collapses. We want to keep that pipe straight the whole time. All right, so Jonathan, you want to get a few reps in here? Okay, so stance. Okay, out in front. Good. Drop it back a little bit. Have it lined up exactly with the left foot. Okay, you can probably go back a little bit right there. All right, ready? Rotate. Good, excellent. Now, if you can see here, I'm splitting hairs, nitpicking a little bit. That pipe can be up here just a little bit. Okay, ready, Jonathan? By the way, watch his back side turn perfectly. Ready? Go. Good, excellent. The back side turns not because he's trying to turn it, but because the hip, the rotation of the hip is causing that to turn. Okay, one more, pal. Get this straight up in the air. Ready? Go. All right, so now he pulled it just a hair. One thing you can do, if you're noticing that your kid, go ahead, hold on to it, pal. If you notice that your kid, line your feet up again, is tilting that pipe down, hold the pipe here. Okay, ready? Go. Good, excellent. Okay, add a little bit resistance to it. So if you find that they're struggling to keep it straight, relax, Jonathan. If you find that they're struggling to keep it straight up in the air, just hold on to it. Okay? All right, very nice job, Jonathan. So that's the third drill in our progression. Okay, working on getting those hips rotated without moving that front shoulder. All right, everybody. We put the PVC pipe down for a second, and we're going to introduce our fourth drill. So with our fourth drill, I've basically got a wiffle ball bat, and I've got a soccer ball. Now, you can use any ball that you have for this particular drill. I just picked up this soccer ball. You can use any bat. It doesn't have to be a wiffle ball bat. It can be your regular bat. It actually could be the PVC pipe. I just put that down because this is obviously shorter. But now what we're going to work on for this drill is keeping our hands and body connected. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to get wide. There's going to be no stride in this. So we're going to get wide. We're going to put the ball between basically our wrists, in between our wrist or forearm, up against our chest, and we're going to hold on to the bat. Okay, you slide over for a second, John. So we're going to put the ball in between the wrist and the chest, and we're right here. Okay, now, a problem that a lot of kids have, including Jonathan, a problem that a lot of kids have is when they go to hit, down for a second, when they go to hit, they may cast their hands away from their body to hit an inside pitch, and their hands go around the ball. Or they may go to rotate and their hands drop for them to come through the ball, up and through the ball. So what this drill does is it helps keep our hands with our body. Okay, so we're here, and all we're going to do is we're just going to rotate, and those hands are going to stay with our body. So back in your wide stance, rotate, and those hands stay with our body. If my hands go away from my body, if I'm going to cast, that ball falls. If my hands drop, that ball falls. Okay? So, perfect drill to help us keep our hands with our body. So again, here, rotate, the hands stay with that body. All right, Jonathan, you want to jump in here, do a couple reps? Okay, slide over a little bit, pal. Right there. All right, so now he's got his regular stance pretty much. It's going to feel awkward. This feels awkward, right? It's going to feel awkward to kids starting out with, but that's okay. All right, the purpose of this drill is keep the hands with the body, and a lot of kids suffer from this issue. You ready, Jonathan? Ready? Go. Okay, again. All right, get this ball a little bit over there. Okay, you get a better turn with me with your body. Okay, I want to see that bat starting to come around. Ready? Go. That's it. Perfect. That's beautiful. That's what we want to see. Again. Ready? Go. Excellent. Good. Relax. That's exactly what we want to see. And you can actually take it up a notch if you have a tee. You can actually work on hitting balls off the tee this way. Now, obviously, there's going to come a point where you're going to work through your swing and hit the ball, and that ball is going to fall. That's perfectly fine. If you don't have a tee, no big deal. Just do those reps over and over again, just holding on to that soccer ball. Okay, so great drill to make sure your hands are staying connected with your body. It is controlled falls. This is a fantastic drill for young kids. A lot of times we'll see young kids when they go to take their stride, they're out of control with their stride. If you're taking your stride and you're out front, you're done. You just lost all your power. And as a catcher, my job is to get the hitter in an off-balance position. And this screams off balance. When we stride, we want to be balanced. We want to be able to control our body. When you're out in front like this, you can't control your body. It's impossible, okay? No power. So when we stride, we're here, balanced. We're here, balanced. So this controlled fall drill is a fantastic way to work on that balance. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with your feet close together, have your bat into normal stance or position. You're going to come up and then come down. And when you fall, you want to fall controlled. Start back close together, up, and then down. Okay, if you're working, kids, if you're working with a parent or a sibling, you can have them say, and I'll do this with Jonathan in a second, you can have them say stance, up, down, and you want to land here. You don't want that player to land out of control and off balance. Okay, so Jonathan, you want to get a couple reps in? So once you get your stance, feet close, there we go, up, down. Excellent. Back to stance, do one more. Up, down. Good. Nice and quiet. That was as quiet as you can get. When you can land with your front foot that quiet, you have full control of your body. You have a chance now to hit the outside pitch, the inside pitch. You've given yourself a chance. So controlled falls. Simple drill. You can use your bat, wiffle ball bat, whatever you got, a stick, whatever. And just work on making sure that when you land your stride, you're nice, soft, and balanced. All right, everybody. Next drill, dry swings. Okay, dry swings means you're taking swings with no ball. Sometimes, I shouldn't say sometimes, but a lot of times, younger players will have very soft swings. And I know that they can swing harder than what they're doing. Young players have it in their head, just make contact, just make contact, just make contact. Don't strike out, don't swing and miss, just make contact. And they give you this half-hearted swing just to try to make contact. We can't allow that to happen. Parents, coaches that may be watching this, if your kid swings and misses, it is okay. There's nothing wrong with swinging and missing. Players get paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to swing and miss. It's okay if your kid swings and miss. Kids, it's okay if you swing and miss. Mom and dad, coaches should not be yelling at you if you swing and miss. If they do, let me know and I'll talk to them because it's okay. But we're so afraid to swing and miss. And I understand, you don't want to strike out, I get it. But you also have to understand something else. If you have the mentality of just make contact, you're not going to hit the ball hard. And as you get older, everybody on defense can field those soft ground balls. You got to put pressure on the defense. Hit the ball hard. Okay? So now dry swing, I'll do this facing the camera. What I would encourage you to continue to use this line, especially for those kids that have a tendency to do this or do this, you want to maintain that line. Okay, so have your kids work off of this tape. You're going to get in your stance. And I want you to visualize, this is another key component of these dry swings. Focus on that pitcher. Imagine that pitcher is out there. Imagine they're going through their windup. Imagine that they're actually throwing you the pitch. Visualize. If you don't have somebody throwing you batting practice, visualization actually works. It can actually make you better. Okay, there's scientific studies on it. Visualization does help you improve. Okay, so you've got to visualize that pitcher throwing you that ball. And then when you swing, it has got to be an aggressive swing. Swing hard. Okay, so you're here, you're visualizing, visualize, go through your stride, swing, and go. Okay, that is what you need to do over and over and over again. Now, kids, I strongly recommend that you don't do this in the house. Okay, for in the event that you're working off enclosed space. You know, I got plenty of room here in my garage. Do this in your backyard. You know, wherever you have the space. Okay, and I'm just using a wiffle ball bat. You can use a regular bat, obviously. But then get reset. Okay, visualize. Pretend you're up at home plate. Pretend that you're staring down that pitcher. Okay, you're here. Pretend that they're getting a sign from that catcher. They're going through their windup. They're making that pitch, and you're crushing that ball. Okay? Do that. Do several reps of that. Take your time in between. Because if you do it right, you're going to be tired. Why are you going to be tired? Because you're aggressively using your body to swing the bat. Not enough kids do this. They don't do it off the tee. They don't do it in batting practice. They're never used to swinging at 100% speed. Dry swings are the perfect time to do it because you don't have to worry about a ball. Okay, Jonathan, you want to take some cuts here? Okay, take your time. Visualize. Okay, see yourself coming up to the plate. Toes on the tape, please. Visualize you're off that pitcher. You can go whenever you like. Okay, that's exactly what we want to do. Okay, all right. Then maybe mix in a bat flip or something. Pretend you hit a home run. All right, but that's outstanding. That's what we want. One thing I want you all to understand, and you saw me do this twice. After I swung, I had to catch myself with my right foot. That is not wrong. Many of you have heard me say this plenty of times. The reason why I had to catch myself is because I violently rotated the hips into the swing, and it caused me to have to come here with my right foot. There is nothing wrong with that. What you need to watch out for is this. You need to watch out for the violent swings that cause you to come over here. That means you're doing too much with that shoulder. Okay? All right, now for you Angels players that are watching this, please record these. Record your dry swings. Feel free to send them to me. I can see a lot in your dry swings, especially at this angle. We can see if your shoulder's opening up too early. We can look at what your balance is doing. We can look at what your hands are doing. So please, by all means, Angels players, go ahead and send me a video, and we can take a look at what your dry swings look like, because this will be a great glimpse into how your swing looks like in a game. All right, everybody, last drill for the day for hitting. I got my PVC pipe, and I've got 3 pieces of tape here on the side of my garage. These pieces of tape are going to act as if they're the ball, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my PVC pipe and I'm going to lay it across my shoulder. Okay, lay it across my shoulder here. Now notice I have more PVC pipe on that side than on this side. Left-handers, you'll be the opposite. You'll actually have more PVC this way than this way. Okay? All right. So I want it up against my shoulders, not down here by my chest, up by my shoulders. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to pretend like these are the balls. And we're going to get in our stance, no stride, and we're going to rotate like we're going to hit each of these balls, maintaining the PVC pipe position every time. So I rotate to hit the top one. Then I rotate to hit the middle one. And then I rotate to hit the bottom one. Now, one thing I want you to notice with this, and I'll do it facing the camera this way. Now, one thing I want you to notice, I kept the PVC pipe on my shoulders the whole time. Here's the high pitch. Here's the middle pitch. Here's the low pitch. The angle of the PVC pipe matches the angle of my shoulders. Why? Because I'm keeping it that way. And that's how we have to hit during a game. High pitch, here. Middle pitch, here. Low pitch, here. If I'm going to maximize my power, that's where I got to be for each of those positions. But here's what young kids do, even older players do. They get in their stance. The high pitch, they're fine. But once you start getting down to the middle pitch and down to the low pitch, most hitters will maintain flat shoulders. Most kids will maintain flat shoulders for every pitch. They're hitting a low pitch like this. They're hitting a middle pitch like this. You get no power from that, and it's a long swing. Just like we did with that soccer ball drill, we've got to keep this angle. Okay, we can't let our hands get away from our body. If our hands get away from our body, we lose power and bat speed. Okay, so we've got to make sure that we're keeping those angles. Okay, so we'll do this again. All right, so we'll do this again. PVC pipe across the shoulders, high pitch. Remember, no stride. Middle pitch. Low pitch. Okay, this drill is the perfect drill to make sure you're maintaining the proper bat path to the ball. Now, those of you who have tees, you can actually do this off a tee. Okay, you can put a ball on a tee, and you can do this off of a tee. Okay, if you don't have a tee, no problem. Just put pieces of tape on a wall and you're fine. Okay, but one thing I do want to warn you about, this is what we don't want to see when doing this drill. What we don't want to see is, we don't want to see you bending over to get to that tape. I see that a lot working with kids who are doing this for the first time. Parents, stand to the side. Make sure your kids aren't leaning over to get there. Move up as close as you can to that wall and make sure you're keeping that triangle. Okay, maintain that triangle. Don't get the top off of the triangle. Okay, maintain that good posture. All right, so really good drill to finish up with. Helps you maintain proper bat path to the ball.